Here's a little bit about Florida's new immigration law. It requires employers with 25 and plus employees to use e-verify system to check legal status, which a lot of people will be hiring undocumented workers, so that's going to cause problems. Bans local governments from issuing ID cards for people who can't prove citizenship, which is stupid. We should be giving these people citizenship so that they can work, have legal protections while working, and cannot be exploited. Requires hospitals that accept Medicaid to question patients' citizenship status, which is just going to cause more problems getting people going to the hospitals and getting appointments and stuff. Bans undocumented law school graduates from being admitted to the Florida bar. Why? I mean, if these people know the law, they should be able to become lawyers. Increases the penalties for human trafficking related offenses. Does this mean when Ron DeSantis human traffics uh, migrants to other states, will he be punished for that? Because I doubt it.
Joining me now is Andrea Reyes, an immigration attorney in Florida. And I will note for you, Ms. Reyes, that the exception to being able to transport undocumented migrants is the governor, who has been authorized by this law to fly migrants from Texas, whom he's brought into the state and put on planes and flown them to all sorts of blue states. So he gets to do it. What is the...
Wow. Typical dictator behavior. It's illegal for everybody else to do this, but me. If you transport an undocumented immigrant, that is human trafficking. But if I traffic an undocumented immigrant, then that is totally legal. It's just like him having a bill passed that allows him to run for president, even though Florida law says that is illegal.
the impact of this law before it even goes into effect in July?
Thank you for having me. So right now we are already seeing basically the start of what's going to likely be a mass exodus of immigrants out of the state of Florida. And we understand that in the state of Florida, we are 21% of the state is populated by immigrants. And so
This just means, hey, blue states, if you need more workers, just pass laws to make it easier for these immigrants to get citizenship in your nation, in your state, or at least some kind of protection. And these people will be flocking to your states and, you know, building, doing construction work, doing farm work, doing restaurant work, doing whatever, and your economy will increase.
So when you have a state where 35% of entrepreneurs are immigrants, contributing a whopping 8.1 billion in total income to the state of Florida, when you have over 21
$8.1 billion being contributed to the economy. And a lot of these people, they cannot make use of social programs, or they do not. So that means taxes and stuff that they're paying into the government, they're not getting back.
percent of the populations being foreign born, where you have over 500,000 US citizens living with at least one undocumented family member in their home in a mixed status environment. When you have a state that is run by immigrants in the industries of crop production, agriculture, construction, roofing, taxi drivers, and maids and housekeepings, right? When you have a
Yeah, rich people without migrant workers, hey, who's going to be cleaning your houses and taking care of your kids? Who's going to be picking your food for you? Who's going to be doing that cheap renovation that you want after you went to some place where a lot of migrant workers will go in order to get work, like Home Depot and stuff, in order to get cheap labor? What are you going to do? Because, these rich people, they don't want to pay an arm and a leg in order to get something renovated. They're going to find a cheap way to do it so that they can, uh, you know, have that extra money to spend on something else.
State that is run so much by immigrants, to say that this bill is going to affect nearly all residents, families, and businesses in the state is really a terrifying fact.
And it's interesting because you talk about the number of immigrant entrepreneurs in Florida. I definitely experienced that. I lived down there 14 years. You have a lot of people who own construction firms and restaurants, and these are people who are Latino, right? They are themselves, and a lot of them are Republicans and DeSantis supporters and probably voted for him. I want to read a quote from the same.
Yeah, there are a lot of Latino people that come to the United States, and they are conservative. Uh, some of it is due to the religious upbringing that they have, and they end up getting screwed over when they vote for Republicans.
Same article that quoted you in the New Yorker. And this was a quote from a gentleman named Jose Rodriguez, and he's a priest in the Iglesia Episcopal Jesus de Nazaret Church in Orlando. He said that conservative Latinos are prioritizing abortion over immigration and other life-preserving issues. Rodriguez, who supports immigration rights, added, they make a good show of pretending that they care about immigrants, but at the end of the day, they worship at the altar of conservatism, and they'll turn their back on their neighbor.
Yes, because right-wingers are religious conservative first, everything else second. If it doesn't contort to their religious belief, it does not matter whatsoever. And if it means throwing a group of people that they claim to support under the bus, they will, and they do that all the time.
But what I've been seeing on these sort of TikToks that are putting up is people saying that a lot of people who actually voted for DeSantis and thought that he would be a good governor are actually waking up to the fact that this isn't helping them. Are you seeing that kind of reaction?
You will never get any help from a Republican politician. All they will do is use you for their goal, and then once you're done, they throw you away. That's why they love to rally up the poor, white, right-wing base, and then once they're done with the poor people, they will throw them under the bus and try to slash Social Security and other social programs, which right-wingers make great use of.
Action from Latinos?
So I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. We tend to be a little bit more on the conservative side as a whole. I do definitely believe, Jackson was a bit of a purple city, if you will, not quite blue like Orlando or what Miami used to be, prior to this past election. But I definitely think, so having this experience with, I've been doing immigration for 9 years, working in immigrations for 13 years. And I will tell you that particularly the Hispanic Latino immigrant, right? Because there's different types of immigrants.
Yes.
In Jacksonville, for example, we are a majority minority city. We have 6 to 7% Asian population, almost 11 to 12 Hispanic Latino, and 33 to 34 African American Black population. So we are actually a majority minority city, but our politics don't reflect that. But I having already seen a couple of election cycles here, right? What I can tell.
When you have Republicans in control, you will never see an actual representation of the population because there will always be right-wing Christians who will gain control. Excuse me, sorry about that. Who will gain control of the government, and that is what they want. right wingers don't want to see POCs have any kind of authority or power, nor do they truly want to see women have power. But they've let it slide since it's has gotten them a little bit more power by getting women to vote for them, uh, even though it's against their best interest.
Tell you is that the immigrant, particularly the Hispanic Latino immigrant, is not monolithic, right? They're not attached to one particular issue, and because traditionally people have, we come from countries where religion is a very strong, it has a very strong hold on our households. They tend to vote for things that don't necessarily protect their immediate interests.
Like I was saying before, yeah, a lot of these people, a lot of the Latino people that come to the United States are highly religious, and conservative conservatism uh, relates to them a whole lot because right wingers in the United States are highly religious. These people are highly religious, so they're going to gravitate towards the more religious and vote for them, even though it may end up being against their best interest. Um, though that's what the right wing loves. They love the highly religious people because they're easier to manipulate than those on the left that are a bit more skeptical and more educated and more willing to go against the traditional norms.
And so, and that's something that I started a nonprofit called Nefida that we're trying to work to educate the immigrant population on, like, this is the way that our political system works. This is how, when you come to this country, you got to leave aside your political baggage from your country. Unfortunately, a lot of these immigrants that come from, states that have been very polarized, where there's been a lot of corruption and collusion, they tend to vote a very specific way because they're trying to avoid having that here, not understanding how our Constitution works, separation of powers, federalism. So we're trying to educate the population with that as well, because we do see this to be a part of a lack of education more than anything else.
And there's also just the actual fear that people are feeling. I mean, if you're afraid to go to the hospital, then that's dangerous and it can lead to people dying. Are you concerned that people are going to be so fearful that if they don't leave, you may actually start to see real health crises in the state?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a whole lot of migrant people dying because of fear of going to the doctor and getting deported. And it is really sad because a lot of these people are probably going to die from preventable diseases and illnesses.
So you said it, you hit the nail on the head. I genuinely believe that this bill is economic suicide. SB 1718 is a sucker punch to Florida's future, its businesses, families, immigrant communities, and their loved ones. It's going to reduce road safety, and it's going to keep people away from the hospitals. What's very bothersome about this bill, right, is that it has all these provisions, but then it has ways to backpedal. So for example, for the hospital provision, once they report that information to the governor and the legislature, once the hospitals are required to submit those quarterly reports, there's actually a section where they're allowed to elect if the person declined to answer. So that's specifically written into the bill as a possibility. But
So then everybody should just be declining to answer, undocumented or not. Then this state can't do anything whatsoever because if everybody is saying they're not answering, then how are they supposed to know whatsoever? Though it is odd that they give this out, but not really, knowing that Florida and a lot of other red states are heavily dependent upon migrant work. Even though they want to be strict on immigration, they want to, find ways so that the corporations can still hire these people and not have to deal with so much legal trouble. That is why people who employ undocumented immigrants never get in trouble, and only the undocumented immigrants do. If we didn't have so many people that wanted to exploit undocumented immigrants, there would be less that would be coming here for jobs. But you also have the fact that there are a lot of jobs that Americans don't want to do, like picking vegetables and fruits from farms, that you have these migrant workers coming here. So our best solution is to just, you know, open up the borders more, allow these people to come in, and make them dual citizens or just citizens if they want, and make it easy for them to go back and forth so that, Americans can get what they want, because that's all what Americans care about. Can I get their food? Can I get their products? Can they get whatever?
If you ask an immigrant your immigration status at a hospital, and they're going to feel fearful to give that information to even continue seeking medical attention, despite the fact that you can decline to answer. So absolutely, immigrants by nature already don't report crimes.
Right.
There's a specific type of bill called
Yeah, immigrants are like 2 to 3 times less likely to commit crimes compared to like second or third generation people who are more Americanized, and compared to natural born American citizens. So immigrants are actually safer to be around than a natural born American citizen, especially a right wing uh, Christian Nazi who is just looking to mass murder a bunch of black people or brown people.
there's been legislative acts, but in 2008, right, in 2000 there was a bill to help immigrants who were victims of crime come forward to talk about criminal activity, and because they inherently don't. So they're afraid. And so now we have hospitals and we have police officers that are going to be acting as ICE officers, and it's going to create, what this bill was designed to do, which is fear mongering. Absolutely.
Yeah.
People should not be afraid to be able to get help because of their paper status, their documentation, whatever. In my opinion, the idea of requiring people to have documents to be in the United States is no different than Nazi Germans requesting papers from Jewish people, seeing if they're, legal or not. It is messed up. People have the right to move from one place to the next, and an imaginary border should not stop that person from being able to move into the United States or out of the United States. Because, hey, guess what? If the government has the power to prevent people from moving into the United States, they have the power to prevent people from leaving the United States. But hey, this is the end of my video. If you like it and you like my content, check out my other videos. Drop a like, drop a comment, drop a like, share the video, and if you want to help grow my content even further, check out my links and donate.